You are now connected to the Nerd Podcast Mafia. Have a seat at the table with Open All Powers, Soul Wizard, Fans on Patrol, I love him. Dinner with a podcast, Superheroes Speak, fucking Bastardo, Fantastic Four, and of course, Gold 45. And not another nutty podcast. I love you. Entertainment your ears can't refuse.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what? I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotion.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one too.
Quarter pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Royale with cheese? Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, you're listening to Superhero Speak, and I am your host, Dave.
I'm John.
And JD's off again this week.
Was he?
He had a family issue to take care of.
Yeah, no, he's got a real excuse. I can't make fun of that.
And that's all right, because we're actually very ill-prepared this week. I'm sure many of you were expecting us to review... Wow, I can't even talk.
We were supposed to review Deadpool, but instead we went and worked our asses off at the Wizard World Philadelphia Comic-Con.
Yes.
Getting interviews and helping Greg Horn, apparently. So, with blisters and legs that are having issues moving and chapped lips and a full, I think we ended up with 9 more interviews. We still haven't finished releasing the Great Philly Comic-Con interviews. We didn't find quite the time to see the movie.
No, not this weekend. But it's coming. We promise. Because I love Deadpool. John loves Deadpool. John dreams of Ryan Reynolds every night. Cuddling him.
I'd make mention of Blake Lively, but they're married and that would be wrong.
So look for that coming soon. So we decided we're going to talk a little news, catch up on our weeks, but I think you kind of caught up on it right there, John. Yes, we were busy at the con. Had fun, I mean, yes, you're busy and you're on your feet, but it's a comic book convention. How can you not have fun, right?
Try walking around for 12 hours each day, fighting through volunteers and Wizard World workers and agents to see if you can get at least a couple of interviews.
Yes. Exactly.
Sure. Okay. In that case, then yeah, we had fun.
Alrighty.
Wait. Did I say fun? No. Not fun. I meant restraining orders. That's what we had. Lots of restraining orders.
Yeah, we had a couple of those. We talked to a lot of people, saw a lot of friendly faces we haven't seen in a while. Got a good number of interviews and, made some new friends as well, I think.
Yes. Just remember, we do this for you. Okay, we do it for the women. We do it for the money. Okay, we don't do it for the money. Why are we doing this? You gotta remind me, because I'm having issues here.
It's the love of the culture. The love of being a nerd.
Blah, blah, blah. Give me something. I want materialistic stuff. Come on.
How about press passes to New York Comic Con?
Thinking. Yeah, that might be worth it.
Okay. All right, we'll make that happen.
So far, you've gotten your notification. I haven't gotten a notification, and there's an issue with my account. So we'll hope that goes through. I have to call them tomorrow.
Oh, John.
Yeah. So why don't we get to our topics?
Before we get to our topics, we're going to do a live read, John. We haven't done this in a long time.
Oh my goddess, why?
So, John, do you like T-shirts?
No.
Can we start that over?
I like tea and I like shirts. Put them together, I'm not so sure. You know, it's hard to get the stains out. All that tannin in the tea.
Okay, well, for normal people who like to wear T-shirts, have you heard of shirtpunch.com?
I have not heard of it, nor have I felt it, apparently.
Well, let me tell you all about it. Shirtpunch.com is a great,
Allow me. It is the best place on the internet to grab limited edition pop culture t-shirts. We do 4 new designs daily, which are only up to 24 hours at $10 each. Sometimes we do t-shirts with glow-in-the-dark and metallic prints. We have a selection of gallery tees as well. We have something for every fandom: gamer, anime fan, horror movies, and a lot more. Check back daily so you don't miss out. When you do find something you love, use the promo code POD10. That's POD10. During the checkout for 10% off your order. We ship internationally, North America to Australia and everywhere in between. They charge extra for Atlantis. How was that?
That was perfect. So yes, as John was wonderfully reading the ad for us this week, yes, shirtpunch.com. Actually, it is a really cool site. They have a lot of interesting t-shirts, and like they say, they do 4 unique t-shirts every day, but then they have a gallery of their best sellers that you can go through, and it's all pop culture and nerd stuff. So I definitely think if you like this podcast, you will like shirtpunch.com. And again, put in POD10 at checkout. That, I believe that is good for the next 3 months. So you'll get 10% off of your purchase. And again, they ship everywhere. So again, if you love this podcast, I'm sure you will love shirtpunch.com. The link is in the description below. All right.
I'm really glad that a shot of brandy kicked in at just that point.
Now back to our regularly scheduled podcast. So yeah, we did get a little interesting news this week. Marvel has had a couple of interesting things come out. And let's start with, they have announced a couple of people for Spider-Man Homecoming 2. And that is the return of the one and only Michael Keaton as the Vulture. And Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be Mysterio.
Now, let's be succinct here. I'm hoping that the Vulture is not going to be a main villain. I can see him being in prison pulling some strings a la Kingpin.
Okay.
But I am hoping and praying that they do not go the way of, do not make the same mistake as all the rest of the quote unquote reboots. That, would be better than one villain? 4 villains. We'll give them a total of maybe 10 minutes apiece.
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking about this. There's been a thought process, at least at Sony, that Mysterio really isn't a strong enough villain to carry a movie by himself.
Depends on how they play it. I mean, technically, Guardians of the Galaxy weren't a strong enough team, and look what they did with that.
Well, this is true.
If Marvel's involved, again, even their worst stuff is at least a 6.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I will give you that. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. And you're right. Are they going to make him a mean villain, or is he going to still have some of the feelings of respect for Spider-Man that came from Homecoming?
I would assume so. Otherwise, the very first scene will be him telling everybody, "Hey, I know who Spider-Man really is. I know his secret identity."
Right.
So
Yeah,
obviously that's not going to happen. And of course, if he did like open his mouth to say that kind of thing, a piece of the ceiling would just suddenly fall on his head, or he'd accidentally be shot, or whatever.
Yes.
He might as well just say, "You know what? I'm 2 weeks from retirement."
Yeah, so we'll see. So I find this interesting. The fact that they're still saying Homecoming 2, there hasn't been an official title released. And, they're casting people for it. And, it brings up an interesting point, right? The Spider-Man Homecoming sequel comes out, I believe, 1 or 2 months after Infinity War 2. Right?
Yeah,
or
you
Avengers 4.
Avengers Forever. Or Avengers Infinity. That's the going scuttlebutt. They're saying Avengers Infinity.
So the question is,
or Infinite Avengers, something like
that. Kevin Smith had brought this up on his podcast. They're going to have to start promoting the Spider-Man movie, sometime before Avengers 4 comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't that automatically spoil the fact that Spider-Man coming back?
Well, maybe. I mean, Peter Parker is gone, but how many other people can wear the mantle of Spider-Man?
Right now, none.
No, in Homecoming they had Miles Morales' his uncle or something? So we know Miles Morales exists.
Well, do we? The character that Donald Glover...
I know, it'd be really awkward, so...
the thing is, he played... first off, Donald Glover was playing a character who was the Prowler in the Ultimate Universe, who, in the Ultimate Universe, is Miles Morales' uncle. But they also made it set up like he was still really young, like a little kid. So, you can have a 5-year-old be Spider-Man? And then why would you have the Vulture? Like, why would the Vulture care about this Spider-Man?
I don't know. But you're right. They do have to start promoting it soon. And of course, everybody knows that they didn't kill off T'Challa and Spider-Man after, two incredibly big, box office grosses. I mean, especially for Black Panther. There's no way, Marvel's good. They're still not good enough to be able to do that and not worry.
True. But again, it's as we described on the show many times, the Muggles or the Norms, they don't. A lot of them don't get it. It's a comic book movie, so of course, a lot of things aren't permanent. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering how they're going to react if they have previews that come out and show. Maybe they'll be smart. Maybe the early previews will only show them in costume, and maybe there'll be some kind of comments around like, who's in the costume, who's wearing the mask in the early previews. Maybe they'll
surprise. It's Tobey Maguire. He looks 40 now.
That is very possible.
But okay. We could speculate that all night, but we could also use that as a segue to go to the Spider-Geddon. Now, you're going to have to explain this to me because I know that, there's this Madam Spider / Beyonder type story that goes through some of the Spider-Man comics, and I also have seen or read many articles about, trashing the fact that Spider-Man, I guess at one point his mutation continued on unabated. He became a big spider and then gave birth to himself or something really wacky like that. So what's the Spider-Geddon thing? And can they clean it up enough to be watchable?
Okay, well, first off, the Spider-Geddon is an upcoming event that's been teased by Marvel in the comics. So we don't know what Spider-Geddon is yet.
So it's a comic book thing. All right.
Yes. And aside from that, there's what's been going on in the comics, as far as I know, is they started this whole concept of the Spider-Verse, where not only do you have Peter Parker running around, there is, of course, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales Spider-Man, Silk. They've been teasing the concept of Ben Reilly coming back as Scarlet Spider. Unless he's come back, I'm not 100% caught up on all the books. So the idea is there's all these spider people now, and it's the Spider-Verse. So now they're going to do Spider-Geddon, which all they did was release a teaser image so far for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's obviously, you don't say Spider-Geddon and not expect there's going to be somebody who dies. That's the question. Where do they go with this? Are they going to kill off all of them? Are they going to kill off some of them? Are they going to kill off, like, there's a speculation right now, they'll finally kill off Peter and just have Miles take over. And it's like, they're going to do that after they just got to deal with Sony, have him in the MCU? I don't see that happening. I mean, no offense to the people who like this character because she's kind of popular, but maybe it's time to get rid of Spider-Gwen.
I thought they had, but sure, whatever.
Well, because it's like, that was always she's always felt like a cheap trick to me. The Gwen Stacy back from the dead, and now all of a sudden she's got Spider-Man's powers, and it's just like...
You mean she's just a flagrant grab for cash? I would never have guessed.
Yes. Like, Silk is cool because it's a different character, but again, it's also just another version of Spider-Woman, but I will give you Silk. It's like Spider-Gwen, no. Gwen Stacy died a long time ago. Why can't we leave her dead?
Same reason you can't leave Vibe dead is because every once in a while you want to bring somebody up so you can kill them again because it creates artificial stakes in the storyline.
Like every time they bring Vision back. You know he's going to die.
Yep.
It's a shame. One of these days they'll do it right. So that's all we know. Events coming up. Looks like somebody in the Spider family is going to die. Maybe they're all going to die. Who knows? It's Spider-Geddon. Ooh, spooky.
Right.
So I want to keep an eye on this story as details emerge.
I'll be interested too, even though it's not DC.
Well, let's go from one death to another. And so to DC. They have released the first trailer for the animated movie Death of Superman.
Now, I will be watching. I will grab this and watch it, but DC is going to have to make up they have a lot of ground to make up after Batman Ninja, because that was pretty much one of the most horrible pieces of garbage animation I've seen them put out.
Really? Was it that? I haven't watched it. Was it that bad?
Oh God, it was so bad. I mean, take Teen Titans Go and then multiply it by cancer.
Well, wait.
It was horrible. It was terrible. Oh my God. It might have just been one long cutscene, and there were parts of it where I literally just paused it so I could take in the idiocy of it, walk around, grab some tea, let off some steam, look outside, reflect on the meaning of life, and then go back in knowing that I was going to waste another 15 minutes to try and get to the end of this thing.
So what I understand the story is there's some kind of device that takes Batman and all of his villains back to feudal Japan.
Yes, where they make giant mechs.
They make giant mechs.
They make giant mechs that I'm not going to spoil it, but they make giant mechs and they fight in ancient Japan.
Right. And does it feel like possibly a pandering movie for Asian audiences.
It feels like Saban sneezed, and this is what they've served up with that.
Okay. That's not good.
No, it was not good. It was very, very not good. But Death of Superman. Okay, when that came out in the comics, that was utterly iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And they even for a few moments, you might have even believed that he would stay dead until you woke up. But yeah, I mean, to see it and having it be in this current DC animated universe, which I'm more or less okay with. It's not Bruce Timm's DC universe, let me tell you that, but it's okay. I'll see it definitely just to see how they handle it. Hopefully they handle it well.
Well, that's the two issues I kind of have with this, and it's kind of petty maybe, but I know they already did the death and rebirth of Superman within the Bruce universe.
The Bruce Timm universe.
The Bruce Timm universe. Like, they did that. They already did the story as a cartoon, and everyone's acting like they didn't. It's like, no, they did it. Why are they doing it again? Like, okay, it's 15, 20 years later, but you guys already did this as an animated movie. Mm-hmm. Then when I'm looking at the preview, it's like Superman's in the current costume. You can definitely tell there's elements of the story that have been changed to fit into the current continuity of the animated movies. And it's just like, yeah, no.
Well, but they started this whole new universe with the Flashpoint animated movie. And so they're going to be able to tell these stories. And,
right.
It depends on how they handle it. Because there have been a few really big missteps, like, was it Superman versus Brainiac, which was horrible and didn't even have some of the regular voice actors in it. I guess they saw that and ran.
What was the name of that? It wasn't
Brainiac Attacks, I think it was.
Yeah, I think something like that.
And this one, the Batman Ninja, which is horrible. And it's a shame because DC Animated Studios has been kicking Marvel's ass for a long time. So to see them start to have missteps like this, as big as that, is just, I don't know.
And what they did to the Killing Joke too.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Well, speaking, do you want to use that as a segue into the Batwoman, or do you want? Because if you're going to talk about Teen Titans Go, I'm going to go take a break. I don't want to hear about Teen Titans Go.
What?
I do not like Teen Titans Go. Surprise, surprise.
You've never given it a true chance.
I gave it a chance. It took like a month of psychologist meetings to put me back on track.
So
no way.
As we've discussed on this show before a couple of times, Teen Titans Go isn't for you. It's for younger viewers. Did you actually walk away?
What? I'm sorry. I tuned you out as soon as you started.
The other thing is, though, did you watch the video? I assume you didn't watch the clip.
No, obviously I didn't. It's not that I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it because I didn't have time.
All right. Well, so essentially, there's a second preview that has come out for the movie. Teen Titans Go to the movies, and
the movie I've heard about.
Right, and of course, the main villain in the movie is going to be Deathstroke, and they basically pull a Deadpool in the preview because Deathstroke starts talking to the audience, breaking the fourth wall, explaining that, he came first and Deadpool is a copy of him. He's like, my name is Slade Wilson, and his name is Wade Wilson. His costume is a copy of my costume. Mine's cooler though. Which is true. I mean, this has been talked about many times in the comic books that, Deadpool showed up shortly after Deathstroke.
And that was an actual thing. Deadpool really is a copy of Slade Wilson. It's just that Marvel took it that extra step, which made him hellishly cooler than just a master assassin.
Right. Yes. So it looks like, though, for at least the Teen Titans Go universe, they'll have him at least a little bit going down the road of Deadpool.
See, that it doesn't. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Wade Wilson and Slade Wilson. Only one of those has fought one of the main five from Friendship is Magic. So, you know which one is cooler from that. And I don't see it. This is why I don't like Teen Titans Go. They're not keeping with the actual characters. They're just making a mockery of the whole thing. And I know you're going to say, but it's for kids. Okay, so those kids are going to grow up and start reading the comics like, why is Slade Wilson cutting people's hearts out and eating them instead of talking to the camera? I don't understand this. This is not what I grew up with. They are building in to the current generation a hatred of what the character really has always been.
No.
I thought Slade Wilson was a cut-up. I didn't think he was a cut-up.
Maybe. We'll see.
Okay. So, moving on then.
Moving on. Okay. Go ahead.
Batwoman's coming into the CW.
Yes.
I guess that's just a guest appearance.
It's going to be during the...
Arrow.
They're bringing her in during the crossover event, the fall crossover event for the CW shows.
Right, which now the last crossover event was actually, and if you watch the Supergirl episode for that crossover, that was probably one of the best superhero battles you could have ever seen on TV. It was just awesome. I mean, still TV budget, but really good. The crossovers have been getting better and better as they found a way to do them right. Originally crossovers were during the series finales, and now they're making it kind of an event for sweeps, I guess.
Yeah.
But this, now she's not crossing over from somewhere. She's just going to be a guest appearance. They're just bringing, like the article said, they're bringing Gotham into the Arrowverse, which I think it had already been mentioned. It's been mentioned in Supergirl. So we know in her Earth that they've mentioned Gotham exists. I guess maybe we haven't. I'm sure they've mentioned it before.
And there was an episode of Arrow this season, where he not only mentioned Gotham, he mentions Bruce Wayne by name.
Oh, see, I'm way behind on this season for that one. I've been too busy with Krypton and all the rest. Too many series I'm trying to keep up with. They're all ending now.
Yes, they are. We're getting near the end of the television season. We'll have to talk about some of these shows coming up.
Oh, one thing I want to mention. Lucifer. Lucifer got bumped from their network because the network needed time for more sports.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it didn't have a following, not because it didn't have enough viewership, but because they needed more room for sports. I think that is stupid as hell. And last I heard, there are some bigwigs in Hollywood that are actually trying to help it find a new home. Because a lot of people were upset, not just the fans. Which would be good. And Lucifer is DC if you didn't know.
I don't know because I don't watch the show.
Yeah. Lucifer is DC. It's not set in a universe that they're ever going to cross over with, but Lucifer is a DC character, from, what was it, Vertigo? Vertigo, I think. Yeah.
I actually came to a realization the other day is that I don't think, other than for watching sports, the Eagles, I don't watch Fox anymore at all.
Well, it's because Fox takes all the good stuff and then I don't know why anybody pitches Fox a series idea, because Fox always mishandles it. Always mishandles it.
Well, I mean, two things with that. Number one, they have Gotham, so.
Right. So the good ones get killed off and Gotham lives. It's just,
And two, we'll see what happens, once Disney buys them. Or once it, officially goes through.
Or Comcast.
Don't.
There's a bidding war.
Don't you do that.
Oh, trust me, I'd rather see everything under Disney with the Marvel writers right now. But I had to mention that. That's also a possibility.
That evil company that you work for.
I wasn't going to say that. Okay, continue on, because we got 2 interviews we have to fit into.
I might be polluting the country with my job, but you're doing much worse.
Thank you. Okay,
anyway.
So Batwoman's coming in.
So they also, along with that news, announced they're changing up their schedule for the CW shows next season. And at first I wasn't going to talk about it because I'm like, they just probably moved a couple things around. And then I looked at the actual schedule and I'm like, oh crud, like they're really switching things around. So the first thing to mention is, Supergirl is moving to Sundays at 8:00, and then 9:00 is the new Charmed will be at 9:00 on Sunday. I mean,
well, yeah.
Seems like I never thought they put shows on the weekends because,
Well, Deception is on Sundays, so it's not unheard of. Deception's doing fairly well too. Not a comic book series, but still a very good series. You should check it out. But it's not unheard of. So maybe they're trying to go up against Deception.
Possibly. Then Monday nights will be Legends and Arrow. Tuesday, so the Flash is the only one keeping their spot. He's still Tuesday at 8:00. And then 9:00, so I guess they're giving him a whole season next year, is Black Lightning, which is good.
Excellent.
Wednesdays is Riverdale and All American. So, junk that I don't watch. Sorry, CW. No interest in Riverdale. Thursdays, Supernatural. Will the show ever end?
Nope. It's going to compete with Doctor Who for the longest running series.
And then PM Legacies. Again, that's a new series. No idea what it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Legacies, it's called. I was reading 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday, I don't watch a lot of TV on Friday. Dynasty and Crazy. So, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So.
Yeah, whatever. Things we don't care about.
So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Again, Supernatural. Hey, if you listen to the show and you still watch Supernatural after, what is this, 14 years?
It can't be that long.
All right, to the internets. We need to know, how long has Supernatural been on?
Supernatural has been on, holy Shriver. It's 13. It's gonna be on 14 seasons next year. You're right. Holy moly.
That's what I said. I want to know if you're a fan of this show and you watch Supernatural. Have you been watching it for all 13, going on 14 years, and what has kept you watching it that long?
Well, they've done everything, including Scooby-Doo. So at some point, they are literally going to have an episode called Jumping the Shark. If they already have it. They may have. I don't know. I don't watch it.
No, I haven't either. Yeah, I have no idea. I used to think that the only people watching it were the people watching it after Smallville. because it used to air right after Smallville. But no, it's still on.
Yep. All right.
So that is all the news fit to print for this week, I think. We're going to now move on to our interviews. So as we had alluded to before, we actually have quite a few interviews left for Philly Comic-Con.
And we keep adding more interviews on for like Wizard World now, so we're never going to run out of interviews.
Never. So the first one was kind of fun to do. He is a comic book writer. What had happened was John had bought a book from him, went home and read it, and was like, we've got to talk to this guy.
I bought the book at the Great Philly Comic-Con. Now, I swear we've talked to Dirk Manning before.
Possibly. We can't find his interview, though, in the archives. But
I can't find his card, but I know I had a card. I swear he's doing this to us. He's a very strange guy. I mean, he's great. He is wonderful and strange, but wonderful. If you go online and you type in Dirk Manning, you're going to see a weird guy in a top hat with a face mask.
It's a scarf.
Or scarf around like old timey, this is a stick up type, scarf over the mouth. He's a neat guy. He's writing quite a bit. But what happened was that he came out, he has a collaboration, a comic book called Hope that he did with Kari Lynn Smith, who is an artist. And on a lark, I said, oh, this looks interesting. So I took it home with me. And when I came back the next morning, I went right to his table and I said, interview now, me, you, here. And that was it. Because the comic book, I love the premise of the comic book. The comic book is called Hope. There's only one book right now so far, but it proves to be that the storyline shall be very interesting as it progresses, and that's what I really want to see progress. Dirk Manning's done a hell of a lot of other stuff like Nightmare World, Love Stories, Dia de los Muertos. I'm pretty sure he's worked with Zenescope on Grim Fairy Tales, and a whole bunch of other stuff. He primarily trucks with the horror genre. But this Hope thing is it's a superhero genre, and
it's a superhero book with a major twist to it. I think the simplest way to like describe it to get people interested without giving away too much. Imagine a world where powered people exist, people with superpowers, but they're treated kind of the way aliens are treated in sci-fi movies.
Yeah, don't give it away. Don't give it too much.
Well, you have to get people interested so they'll read the book. If you don't, if you just say it's a really great book.
Let's just say that this takes the turn that you think would happen in reality with superheroes. So not just.
I'm not that pessimistic, but
I am. Oh, trust me, a lot of people will read this and say, yeah, that's what we do.
Well,
but it also ends on a note of pure horror, which is, that's Dirk Manning for you.
So how about we just let Dirk talk about it a little bit in his own words?
Yeah, let him explain it. Here he is.
All my friends are heroes, take it slow. All right, here we go. I don't know what song to sing. I have a microphone now. I'm not in karaoke mode, so.
We found the only lounge singer here at the Philadelphia Comic-Con.
Sing me a song, Piano Man. No, then I'd be Brian O'Hallahan. If I did that, I'm not going to do that.
Well, So we're here with Dirk Manning.
Hello.
If you didn't recognize the sonorous tones.
The sultry lack of tone of Dirk Manning is...
But, Philadelphia Comic-Con. This is John O'Grady, Superhero Speak. And Dirk Manning, who I know, I swear we've talked to before.
I think at New York Comic-Con or something, maybe a couple of years ago or so. We have. We did. Yeah, we discussed yesterday. Like, we've spoken.
Yes. And he's got some new material out, one of which is a comic book called Hope, which he allowed me to buy last night.
Allowed you to buy? I suppose you can buy a copy of the first issue of this amazing new book with the Kari Lynn Smith.
He was very kind. So once I went home and read it, I immediately came back in early this morning to nail him to a wall and ask him where that next issue is, because this is one of the best setups that I've read in a long time.
Thank you. Well, and hopefully the first issue in and of itself is fulfilling as well as making you hungry for more. That would be my hope. Right?
It is. Hope.
Yeah, see what I did there?
Let's see how many times we get the name of the comic book in.
I hope
did.
it's several.
It did, but where did you... I mean, I don't know. I don't think we want... I guess we could spoil it a little bit and get people interested. But where'd you get the idea for it? Because a lot of the comic books that we see coming out, there are a couple of tropes that people rely on to start them off on a new series.
Right.
This one is going straight to, I think, a very little used trope of what would really happen.
Yeah, if. And we'll just leave the if ...
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's it. People that know my work, Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Love Stories to Die For, things like that. And even follow my work through like Right or Wrong, which is the column I did for Newsarama and Bleeding Cool for years to help aspiring writers. I often talked about the fact that really doing a superhero book is, especially earlier in a writing career, is you're putting yourself in an uphill battle. There's so many superhero books out there and things like that, and I'm a horror guy. I'm not necessarily a superhero.
That's right.
Person, I mean, and nothing against it, but it's just not my jam,
Well, there was enough horror in that last page, that last panel.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't want to be very clear. It is, and that's why I tell people this is a scary book, but not in the way anyone suspects, because it's not even scary. It's horror because there's no monsters, there's no ooga boogas, there's no tentacles. It's a very grounded. We're not going to get grounded because she flies, but real world story about a mom who moonlights as a superhero, and then basically she encounters a villain that I guess you can't punch. You can't, and that's kind of what one of the many inspirations of the book is, that it's a situation where this isn't a punchy. Oh, I'm going to go fight the bad guy book. I mean, this is about a whole Kafka-esque level of terror.
All right, so a question then, since usually people come to a Comic-Con and they see a superhero book and they think of it, something that their kids can read. Mm-hmm. Is this something you think is appropriate for all ages? And what do you tell parents who might want to buy it for their kids?
Or will it be appropriate? Because after this issue, and from what you described, things might get a little PG-ish and above.
Yeah, I mean, there's no nudity, there's no swearing, nothing like that. I mean, there's adult themes, but not in the sexy way. But I mean, it's a mature book. This is a book I think we're definitely more squared at, or aimed at people of more of an adult mindset. I mean, it's about a mom for starters. Yeah. Could kids read it? Yeah. Do I know some people who've had their kids read it and like it? Yeah. If they really want a true all ages book, I've got The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. and Dastardly Dirk, which is genuinely all ages, but. But with Hope, I mean, kids could read it, yeah. But I mean, I would just tell a parent to read it first, because it's definitely going to raise a lot of, I think, philosophical questions. I think it's going to raise a lot of civil rights questions. I can imagine kids having that conversation with their parents. Could this happen? Could this be a thing? Could this really be something that? And that could be something that could lead to some conversations that maybe a parent doesn't want to have yet, with their kids. So I would caution them that way, but. It's like with anything. I've had parents come up and their kids want to buy Nightmare World or Tales of Mystery, and kids like 7, and I'm like, Nightmare World's PG-13, Mystery's like a hard PG-13. But I go, no, he watches Saw every night. And I'm like, okay, that's on you. So, but yeah, I mean, kids could definitely read Hope. And yeah, it definitely sticks out on my table amongst all the more horror books. And then, oh yeah, boom, here's this bright, It's funny with Kaylin's cover. When she first pitched me the idea of the cover, she's like, I got this idea, Hope's going to be standing there, blah, 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 and all this. And I'm like, okay. All right, I'm listening, but I wasn't. And she even told me, because you didn't sound overly enthusiastic. And I'm like, well, I wanted to see. But, I mean, that cover's so striking. And then you get to the back cover, and it's like, yeah, okay, there it is. There it is. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. She's standing in the classic hero pose.
Yes.
In her uniform or costume. And
well, it's a costume.
but there's a very juxtaposition to the whole story. That's what makes that cover work so well.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's all Kaylin. You'll talk to her later. She can tell you she's 2 tables down, just far enough away that we can throw shade at each other, but enough that no. Yeah, Kaylin is. I auditioned. I talk about this at the back of the book, my little notes at the end. I auditioned probably more artists for this book than any single book or story ever.
Really?
And almost every artist I auditioned or talked to about, we had done or went on to do other books. But I could, and it's been sitting on this about 10 years, and I could never find the right artist. It didn't feel right in my gut. They were all very competent. I worked with them all on other things. And I got to know Kari Lynn from her work on Plume. And I was talking to Kari Lynn Smith, and I'm like, we got to know each other. We both publish Who Devils Do. I'm like, I have this idea for this book. And when I first even got told her, I said, this is going to sound weird, but just stick with me. I go, it's a superhero thing. And she kind of looks at me like, really? And I'm like, I know. I know. That's like, but I go, no. But I go, it's not really about that. And then I started to, I go, but it is. And then she gets more confused looking, and I said, I'm the worst pitch man ever.
Did she ask you if you had read anything you'd written before?
Yeah. Well, she knows all my work, and she's like, and then she does Plume, which is like a fantasy kind of Western. And then she's like, really? But then I told her the concept. We started talking about it for a minute. And she goes, yeah, and what if we did blah? And it was a done deal. And as a result, Hope is the first truly co-creator-owned book I've ever done. Kaylin and I work on this book together. I kind of have the main plot, and then I talk to Kaylin, and we kind of flesh it out a little bit and things like that. So that's something that's really cool, too, to have a true co-owned book that, at this point. And her contributions on art, as well as some of the finesse as we go through, cannot be understated.
Yeah, well, we'll be talking to her soon. You mentioned all your other books, which are horror.
Yeah.
So, what have you been doing lately on the horror scene? Because you have quite a few, 5? Yes, my viewers, you can see all this.
Let's just point to them; they can just see them.
Yeah, we'll point right there. You got one right there. And now you have 5 other larger compendiums, or
well, we got 4 volumes of Nightmare World. Nightmare World just wrapped up, and the Nightmare World Omnibus is coming out. First 3 volumes of Tales of Mystery are out. Volume 4 of Tales of Mystery will be coming out later this year. We had a really successful Kickstarter on that, so we're going to be getting those books out to everybody. I've been working on more Haunted Highons, which is a comedy supernatural, kind of like an adult Scooby-Doo, someone described it.
Yeah.
Book with the rap band Twisted out of Detroit. The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. and Dastardly Dirk's an all-ages book. More Hope. I have another book coming out next month, and Cthulhu Jr. is with Scoot McMahon from All Yeah Comics and Lion Forge. A good friend of mine, that's fun. The title on that one's kind of self-explanatory. I have a Supernatural Mafia book, the first issue debuting next month, called Cosa Nostra, with Dan Doherty from Beardo and Touching Evil, another good friend of mine. Some other things coming out that are going to be, I think, make a lot of huge waves, and as much as I want to even give a teaser, I can't, because people are too smart and they figure it out. Like if I said a certain word, people would know exactly what it was. And just working on Hope. Like I said, we're planning on touring on the first issue kind of for a year, getting the first issue out to everybody on the con circuit, and then within the year our goal is to have the full first story arc out, whether it be as a trade, a Kickstarter collected edition, or we have a lot of publisher interest, so we'll kind of see where it goes.
Excellent.
So where can people find you and all your books online?
www.dirkmanning.com is my webpage. I am on the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. I don't tumble well. I do have a Tumblr. I just don't get it.
Well, you have to actually create content, and if you're spending all your time on every single platform.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so is that how that works? I didn't really. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I post pictures once in a while or do live streams.
Yeah, we found that out this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you guys can go back in time and see the live stream at my Facebook page.
Awesome.
But, just all over social media at Dirk Manning. Look for the picture of the guy with the top hat and the scarf. That's me. I do not wear a top hat and scarf in real life. It'd be warm. And, people can sign up for I tell the other people, the other thing people can do, not the other people, sign up for my mailing list at dirkmanning.com. I send a newsletter out the first week of every month. Things get lost on social media. People are starting to figure out the algorithms are all wonky. If you don't like something so often, you don't see their posts. First week of every month, I just send out a letter to everybody. Hey, here's what's going on. Here's where I'll be. I'll be back in the Philly area this fall for the Keystone Con.
Yeah.
I'll be at New York Comic Con. I'll
see
be
you
around. Yeah, right on. Yeah, I'm usually at table H8 in Artist Alley at those shows, so you can embrace the hate with Dirk Manning.
Awesome. Well, that's it. Thank you very much for taking time. I can't wait to see issue 2. You were saying was going to be a Kickstarter, or
well, I think what we're going to do is if we launch a Kickstarter, it will be for the whole roughly 6-issue collection.
Okay.
We may release issues before that if we release issues at this point, it'll be through a publisher.
Okay.
If we kickstart, it may be through a publisher as well. We'll see. But within a year, the whole book will be out. Right now, people can enjoy the first issue, check it out. Get excited. We're working on it, and I'm a straight-to-trade paperback guy anyway by nature. This is a $5 entry to give people a taste of what's going on because they hear Dirk Manning superhero book. Wait, what? But yeah, the full thing will be out in a year. Just stay tuned on social media or sign up on the newsletter through www.dirkmanning.com or go to my Amazon page. But this won't be on there yet, so in time.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yep. Take care.
All right. So, as we were talking to him, of course, he alluded to Kari Lynn Smith being at the show, only a few tables down. What did he say? Far enough to the distance was, close enough where he could talk to her, but not too close. So what's the joke that he made?
I don't know. I think it's something to have to do with the restraining order. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's what. So it wasn't a joke.
Well, it was close, far enough away that he didn't bother her.
To throw
shade,
enough,
but close enough to throw shade. Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes. So
anyway,
of course,
yeah.
So of course, right after we talked to him, we had to walk on down the aisle and get the artist's perspective on the book and her career in general. And what do you have to say about her?
She wrote a book. Well, she did an online comic called Plume, and I am 3. What do you call them? Compendiums. God, my brain isn't working today. 3. There's 4. There's a 4-issue run series of compendiums from the comic that she wrote. And I am 3 into it. And the 4th is yet to be released, but will be released soon, I gather. Mm-hmm. And it is also worth it. She wrote and did the art for this. And it's a really good story. I like it. There's a bit of a romance in there, an interesting premise, and the art. She has a way of doing expressions on people's faces that I really like. And most of the expressions are the kind of expression that I give Dave most of the time, like, really? So if you can picture that in your head, she does that in her art all the time. Just see, there are actually whole series of pages where it's just the characters making faces at each other. I mean, not actually, but just, the interaction of body language and facial expression. And she hits the nail on the head. She's awesome. So, again, I'm running out of.
So without too much more build up, let's just John and Dave take it away.
So John O'Grady and
Dave Markowski
here at for Superhero Speak at the Great Philly Comic-Con, and we are here with
Kari Lynn Smith,
who worked on a book with Dirk Manning, a author down the way that we just interviewed a few minutes ago.
Yes, Dirk said he's just far enough away from you that he can throw shade.
Yeah. That's in my contract. I need to be, as far as possible, but he has his contract where it has to be closer. So this is the distance between our contracts. So yeah,
these contracts have gotten much more complicated since last I heard.
Yeah, for sure.
just let us know when it gets to the point of an addendum with an estraining order.
Yeah, it's close, but not yet.
So you worked at, you've done a lot of other stuff. What we talked about with Dirk was his this new comic, which you did the artist for, you're the artist for, called Hope.
Yeah.
Which had me really intrigued because I bought it last night, went home, read it, came back in, and basically put Dirk up against the wall and said, when's the next one?
I'm asking him that too. He needs to get that script done.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. So he said that you went through a lot of people to find an artist for that. Now, what was it from your side? Because it was your idea for the cover, and how did you come up with the look and everything? Did you read the script first, or was it just
he approached me at a show and was asking me if I was interested in this story, and he pitched it to me, and I was like, wow, that's an interesting take on the superhero genre, and I've never done the superhero genre, so it's like, yeah, that's a great way to go into it. And so he gave me the script, I read it, and I was like, dang, crushed emotions right in the first issue. I pitched him the idea for the cover, and because it's two sides of the story, and I don't know if I should reveal the cover to people. I mean, on the front is Hope, is her superhero, and on the back is Julie, who is the normal person behind Hope, the civilian. So just reveals both sides of this character, and he loved it. So I feel that was a good fit.
The cover is perfect because you're revealing both sides of who she is, her superhero side and her mommy side, basically.
Yeah.
And in the story, that's kind of the problem. She has to suddenly deal with the two of them, clashing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm super excited for the next couple issues. We've talked about it and plot pointed it out. And this poor girl, this poor woman, she goes through.
He
quite
was
the ordeal.
He was hinting at that, and I alternately cannot wait, and I am dreading what is going to happen to her because the title of it is Hope, and it sounds like he's trying to kill Hope. And knowing Dirk's previous work, it's a safe bet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You can bet your bottom dollar that's going to happen.
So one of the things that Dirk did point out too is he feels that this is the first book that he's done. It's a true collaboration with the artist.
Yeah.
And so I'm always curious with relationships with artist and writer, like, how do you guys work that out? Like, do you work on the ideas together, then you draw them, or does he give you a full script and then you come back with some editing ideas? Like,
for the first issue was pretty much written, but as he was pitching me the idea of the overall arc for the first volume, he was in the middle of it, and I was like, "Oh, is this going to happen?" And he goes, "No, but that's brilliant."
Okay.
So it shifted gears that way just by pitching the idea to me. And then as far as like dialogue goes, or if I suggest a panel this way, he's open to it. And before he even scripts the next issue, we sat down and we talked about what we needed, what direction we want to go. And for the most part, Dirk has the reins on the story, but there's definitely input from me, and I wholly respect that. It's great to collaborate with him, and he's willing to hear my suggestions. So
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So your other book, Plume, is that written and drawn by you?
Yeah, it's all me.
Okay.
It actually started as a webcomic, and I actually started it as practice for just keeping myself drawing. I was pursuing an animation career. And so I was just like, well, storyboarding and comics, it's an easy shift somewhat. So I was like, I'll just start a webcomic to keep myself drawing, and then it just kind of spiraled from there, and I absolutely love it. I'm no complaints at all from me, but...
You say webcomic. Is this like, are you online?
Yes.
So like Dominic Deegan, Sluggy, all those guys?
Yep, so it's posted all online, and so the fact that my Kickstarters are super successful, that people are actually paying for something they can get for free online. Holy crap, that means the world to me. So, yeah.
What's the, for the listeners, what's the elevator pitch for Plume?
So, Plume is a Western with like a magical element. So, I always say Indiana Jones meets Hell on Wheels with a female lead. So,
okay.
Basically Lara Croft in the Old West.
Right.
The longer pitch is Vesper Grey is the main character. She's on this quest for revenge to the Wild West. Her companion, this white-haired guy named Korik, he possesses the amulet that she has, so that's the magic part. And so he's like a reluctant guardian angel to her as she's on this quest for revenge. So he's strung along for the ride.
How long have you been working on that story?
I started it in 2011, end of 2011.
Oh, wow.
And just finished it the end of last year. So it'll be 4 volumes altogether.
Finished?
Finished, yeah.
Or like if your fans come back up and say, hey, what happens after that?
Yeah, there are like little spin-offs and little, short stories that I plan on doing, but for the overall arc, it's done. Yeah. And I had my ugly cry. It was all finished. I was like, my babies are all grown up.
Do you plan on doing something else after that? You've had a long time to think about it too. I guess.
Yeah. So Hope is the big guy that I'm concentrating on, but I have another webcomic I'm doing on my own coming up, For Goodness Sake, and it actually goes along with in real life, I'm renovating a school bus, and I'm going to be traveling around the U.S. doing shows.
Right.
So the comic is going to land in all the cities. So the characters are on the bus, so the places will be nonfiction, and then the characters obviously are fictional.
Right.
So I like to include people that I meet along the way, and
okay.
So it's kind of like a little bit of an interactive comic, but it's a web comic. It'll be online as well.
So since you write and do the art, which side of it do you have one side that you prefer?
I get this question a lot, and I don't know, because I feel like if I had to choose at the end of the day to draw or to write, I think I would draw, because you can tell a lot of the story in your art,
Right.
I think drawing would be the top for me, but I love to tell a story. I mean, it's the big kid playing with the Barbies. Like, you can, your action figures, you can play make believe, and you're creating these stories and characters that you torture. So it's always fun. But
you've got the art down, because that last panel in Hope, the look on her face.
Yes.
Taking into account what happened, which I'm not going to spoil. The look of horror. Is perfect.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. My horror is perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. Yeah, expressions. I really take pride in the expressions, and you tell so much in one panel that you gotta really work on it.
Yeah, well, you get the expression down, and they say it's overused. Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes, if you're good, you do something like that, and it was worth it.
Thank you.
Which makes it the wait for volume 2, which is that much harder, because you're wondering which way she's going to go. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so what other cons have you done? This is Great Philly Comic Con here, 2018. Have you done? There's the Wizard World one around here, but you said you were renovating a school bus, so do you go all the way around?
All the way around, yeah. I do all the way to Emerald City. I'm doing Rose City this year. All to Kansas City, Planet Comic Con, C2E2 in Chicago, Phoenix, Fan Fest. A couple Wizard World shows. I feel like I'm missing a big one.
Is that something that you
Motor
find you
City.
have to do as a artist and author to keep drumming up more sales?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Comic-Con circuit is hugely important, not just to get your word out to the fans, but to also bump elbows with other people in your field, making connections. And, if a project comes up and someone's like, well, I'm not available, but so-and-so is, that's hugely important to make these connections, for sure.
That's how you met up with Dirk, right? It was through a convention.
Yeah. I mean, we're both published under Devil's Due, so we met through there as well. But, he's introduced me to so many people, too, through the con circuits as well. So it's very important.
So you've been doing this since 2011, and since we're talking about conventions, there's a lot of grumbling in the convention scene right now. Things have changed. A lot of the bigger conventions are more geared towards celebrities and the entertainment aspect of it. Do you find that to be true? And what do you suggest to other creators to help push their stuff at a con?
And don't worry, this interview will be emailed directly to the owners of this convention.
I was going to say. Some of the shows, and I don't want to... Wizard World... can you edit this out if this is a problem? Wizard World tends to aim for celebrities more now, and the artists seem to be more of a number. So I see that there are some problems there that, we just don't see the importance, in our presence there anymore.
Right. In their defense, I mean, they went through an ownership change a year and a half ago. I've heard rumbles that they are getting better, that they're learning quick.
Yes.
I mean, but we've been to other shows where, they really, the artist will get stuck in a corner with no through traffic. So I've seen...
And I mean, and then the bad stuff, people always talk about the bad stuff more than the good stuff. So, the Wizard World rumblings, I mean, they're on the up and up, so here's hoping. But C2E2 is a great show for artists. They really concentrate on, Artist Alley, and holy crap, it's the best show I had this year. So I recommend that for other artists. The smaller shows, too, for sure, to check those out. If you're starting out, definitely start with the smaller shows. The tables are cheaper, and, local shows, too, like, traveling and hotels,
those are usually the ones where the actual fans are coming out.
Exactly, people that in the area, too, coming out.
Or interested in the art, and they're not here to see, they don't spend $1,000 on a VIP pass to go see a celebrity. They have the money, and they can walk through and see your stuff.
Exactly, so so that's what I always recommend, is to check out the smaller local shows first before you hit the big ones. And there's, Emerald City is great, too, as far as... honoring the artists rather than the celebrities. I mean, they have a lot of celebrities, but, we're not shoved in a corner. They actually, put us up on one floor, and then another floor is, the vendors and celebrities. So that's great that we're all, showcased on one area. So,
here's a question for you. Now, aside from your stuff, is there something that you would recommend for people to read? Or an artist that you'd recommend? Who's your favorite?
Gosh. I can mention my friends. I mean, Dirk Manning's a great writer. You got to check him out.
We interviewed his ego a few minutes ago. Him a few minutes ago.
Corinne Roberts, she's a great, fantastic artist. She's got very, a children's book mythical style. I don't know how else to describe it. It's very, very cool. Gosh, now you put me on the spot. Now I'm like, if later on someone's going to listen to this, why didn't you mention me? Well, but webcomics too. I can Tracy Butler, Lackadaisy Cats. Oh, I love that webcomic so much.
It's good. I used to follow a lot of webcomics, and it's been a while now because some of the ones that I followed, like Sluggy, User Friendly. And I even think I think Dominic Deegan's still going. I'm not sure, but
I haven't checked in a while, actually.
Is that how you got started with this? You did on the webcam? Because that's a scene that I think a lot of people really aren't aware of. That when the newspapers started to go away and they started concentrating only on Peanuts and that sort of thing, just anything that was big seller. A lot of the other artists that were doing their own webcomics, they started moving online en masse. And there's this huge community of webcomics out there.
Yeah. I always compare it to TV versus movie. Like, it used to be back in the day where you're like, oh, you're a television star? Get on the big screen.
Right.
But now TV is, like, up in its game, you know. We've got, like, these awesome series like Westworld and, you know, and it's
Right.
TV. So I feel like webcomics versus the printed comics is kind of the same world where these webcomics, they're raising up in quality, and like Lackadaisy Cats, like that is
Right.
quality stuff, and it's free online. So I feel like, that the scene's getting a lot larger, and you know, the audience response is immediate. It's online. You can, you know,
Right.
it's an interaction between your fans, and people love that, and so you just grow this community. Like the Plume community, I absolutely adore. I don't have any like bad people in the bunch, you know, knock on wood.
You're obviously not on Instagram yet, right?
But it's an awesome community to be in. You know, people are just...
It goes back to that whole mentality that the internet just removed the barrier of entry
Yes.
into the world. So,
Yeah.
you know, and when the people that control the barrier see that, they start to put it down because, oh, this isn't as good as the stuff we're doing over here. Even though, like, newspapers is such a dying medium,
Yeah.
you know, those artists need work, so they'll go do it online.
Yeah, I have actually Daniel Leister. You know, he's a big, you know, horror artist, and you know, great like work under his belt, and he's shifting over to webcomics. Like, he's actually posting a webcomic. So it's, you see a lot of people shifting in that area because, it's like with Kickstarter too. I mean, you've got an online audience. Holy
Right.
crap, their campaign is going to blow
Yeah.
up because you've got the people online. So.
Or Patreon too.
Patreon too,
I've
yeah.
seen a lot
Oh
of them on
yeah,
there.
yeah. So it's a great time to start a comic.
So speaking of things that are online, where can people find you online?
All right, so plumecomic.com is where you can find the comic. For myself, Kaylin Smith tweets. Kaylin tweets, sorry, on Twitter. Plume Comic across the board for the social media, and then Instagram is Handmade Crown. Don't ask me. That was literally like a name generator. I was like, okay, Kaylin's taken, Kaylin Smith's taken. All right, we'll just do Handmade Crown, all one word. So
cool.
Is that your password too? Or is it?
You're right. Yeah, Handmade Crown, and then don't look. Handmade Crown. Enter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and we look forward to the next Hope. At least I do, and you should too. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate
It's a
it.
pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
You know, John, they don't have to picture that look that you give me all the time.
Yes, they do.
Those who follow us at Superhero Speak on Instagram would have seen a photo that I posted about this past weekend of you giving me that look.
Well, you know, which look is that? Is it the one that I do in public or the one I do in private?
The one you do in public. The other disappointment.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's a lot of.
So yeah, again, that is at Superhero Speak on Instagram and on Twitter. While we were at the convention, I was posting some photos here and there. John took a whole slew that he's going to eventually put in a gallery on our website.
Yes, still working on that.
And he also posted a fun video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/superhero speak. And what was that video, John?
That was a bunch of cosplayers just spontaneously deciding to do the cha-cha slide.
Yes.
Now, just to be fair, for Dirk Manning, if you go to dirkmanning.com, you'll find all of his links and information there. You'll also find his stuff on Comixology. For Kari Lynn Smith, who's actually, if you look around, you'll see her as Kari Lynn Smith. It's not Kaylin, it's Kari Lynn. They forgot to put the period in there a lot. But Twitter, it's Kaylin Tweets. Facebook, it's Plume Comic, Plume Comic. Instagram, it's Handmade Crown. And there's like, wow, she's everywhere. But if you want links to all that, just go to plumecomic.com and you'll be able to find all the rest of her social media accounts there. And the two of them together, I can't wait to see what else they're going to do. I want to see the end. I want to see the rest of this comic. And they said they were going to be working on issue 2 and issue 3 and whatever. So we'll see.
Did he say he wanted to debut it at New York Comic Con issue 2?
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Obviously, John is in love with this comic, so I'm sure he will do that.
Well, I like when comics take a dark, gritty turn, and this is a storyline that I don't think anybody else has really explored. I think this is about as close as you're going to get to what would happen in real life with real superheroes.
If you say so.
Yeah.
But we can debate that more later.
But I thought we're supposed to fight the audience. I thought they liked that.
Do they?
Not really, no.
No.
To be honest, I think they get bored.
I think we're both just still tired from this stupid convention.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, this wonderful Wizard World that we thank for giving us press passes, and I thank Greg for letting me to hang out with him all weekend long. And yeah,
and thank you to all the people that put up with me constantly throwing microphones in their face, and
yes.
to all the volunteers and Wizard World workers and agents that I spent a lot of time trying to get around. I'm sorry. I'm sure those bruises will heal. And hopefully you won't see me next time coming.
So on that note, don't forget to check out this week's sponsor. Again, it's shirtpunch.com. Shirt Punch is the best place on the internet to grab limited edition pop culture t-shirts. They do new designs daily, 4 new designs daily for up to 24 hours at $10 each. And again, put in pod 10 at checkout to get 10% off of your order.
Yes, that's right. If you need a shirt and you don't care what's on it, go to this place.
Wow. Wait to piss off our sponsor. No, you do care. It's pop culture. It's nerd stuff. It's fun. You will enjoy the shirts there. I guarantee you will find something you like. Don't listen to John. He's a curmudgeon. So until next week, boys and girls, as always, thanks for listening, and don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.